and action. Tubbs, why you laughing?
You look nervous. You're
Do I,
making me nervous.
do I look nervous?
Yeah, you're
No, I'm,
making
I'm
me.
not nervous. I think it's because we haven't had an episode in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
So I'm a bit shaky because I know everyone is like upset with me.
yeah.
But I must apologize. Life got in the way. I was traveling. Heavy's not around. I think we should actually put the blame on him,
On heavy,
on Heavy D.
heavy.
And he's going to see
You're
this.
to blame, bro.
He's going to see this, I know, and he's going to have me, but he's not around. He's in Lesotho. I traveled the other week. And then last week, I was in school.
Yeah.
I was in school Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from like 8 in the morning until like 5 p.m.
Damn.
So when you get home, it's like late. You still need to like read or reflect on what you guys touched on, because that's when the true learning actually happens.
Yeah, and Nathan is started to set up. That's another thing.
And you are wearing Kaiser Chiefs clothes and
Yeah. Let's call it merchandise. You go to business school. Let's speak the language. Kaiser Chiefs merchandise.
merchandise.
Yeah.
Apparel, no?
Apparel sounds cool. Apparel, it's like taking it out of the field and taking it to the streets.
Yeah.
And that's what this type of design was for in the first place.
Yeah.
Separate from Nike when they used to wear Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thinking. at
Very
the time.
interesting.
Yeah. See, I speak like a Kaiser Chiefs boy.
I hear you.
I
Ladies
speak-
and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Self Literacy Podcast. I've been anticipating this episode for a very long time. Super excited about it. And I need to say something. When I had my first podcast, and he had me with the branding, but he'll talk about that. When I had my first podcast, Dear Millennial Podcast, he was my first guest.
Yeah.
And we spoke about Booga Love,
Yeah.
because he's a big fan of Thapelo.
Yeah. Still am. Yeah.
Jay-Z, I don't think we touched on Jay-Z though,
No, we haven't touched on Hova.
but I know you're a fan of him.
Yeah.
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 So welcome, man.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
excited to chat with you.
Same here. 'cause-
Excited to see you.
Yeah. We haven't seen each other in a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, I think that's the last time we met. We were in Cape Town.
Chances
I
are.
think so. Yeah. That was the last time we saw
Having
each other.
a Gatsby.
Having a Gatsby. Yeah.
I love Gatsby's because of
Weinberg.
you.
Yeah, in Weinberg. The best. If you want the best Gatsby, you go to Weinberg, Cape Town.
I was in Cape Town 2 weeks ago at there's a restaurant there by Waterfront, and on the menu they had a Gatsby.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. You have to go south side of Cape Town. You have to go to Weinberg and have a Gatsby.
I believe you.
You have to go to 10 lower bars and have a Gatsby at Vedas and have, top of the shelf conversations. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
man.
gosh,
Yeah,
yeah,
man,
dude. What you been busy with? Like, I saw you had was it a seminar that you did
Yeah.
on YouTube the other day?
Yes.
You're a doctor now.
Yeah, I'm a doctor now. Yeah, I'm a doctor now. I've been busy with juggling the life after a PhD, because before PhD the idea was, look man, just get a PhD, you'll be fine. And now you're on the other side of PhD and you learn that actually there's so many boxes to tick. So I've been busy trying to.
Boxes like what?
So, I'm a postdoc at JAIS, Johannesburg Institute of Advanced Studies. So
Does it fall under UJ?
UJ, yes,
Okay.
yeah, falls under UJ,
Yeah.
JAIS. So now you have to teach, you have to supervise, you have to publish. Those are the boxes that I have to tick. So I've been busy trying to teach, trying to supervise, trying to publish, and within that, there are many other stipulations under publishing
Yeah.
that you have to go through or meet. Yeah, so it feels like life has started to become a lot more hectic than I thought it would be. I mean, think about it. PhD, NQF 1110, the highest level at the university level.
Is that the highest?
Yeah, the highest NQF level
I'm
10.
doing an NQF9, just by the way.
Yeah. See, you're right next door. So now you think you've made it, you've touched the sky, only to find out that was you were you were not even in the clouds. You are here. You're not even in the stratosphere. You still have to go all the way up.
So you're
So
still in taxi. If I'm going to use the analogy of or the example of a plane, so you're still inside the plane
yeah.
in taxi and you haven't taken off.
No, I haven't taken off. No. Yeah.
And you had this is a PhD,
Yeah.
and still you
So
haven't touched the
no,
ceiling.
I haven't touched the ceiling. So now you are at the part where the captain will say, cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for a land off. For a takeoff, yeah. You're waiting for that moment where you're told where you hear the captain say, cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for a takeoff. So I'm waiting for my takeoff. So I had my moment of glory when I got the PhD. Got it after so much hard
Yeah,
work.
you went, you went through customs.
I went through customs
and everything.
Yeah, but I didn't just go through customs in one take. I was sent back and back and too many back and forths, and I had to understand that there's only one way out. I must end up in the skies.
Yeah.
I cannot Uber my way back to where I come from.
Yeah.
I don't have the Uber money. I only had one trip planned for this. So if custom says, look, man, your passport is faulty, something's faulty, go back.
Yeah.
I ask, okay, what must I do? No, do this and that and the other. I go back and I do exactly that. Then I go through customs again. I don't start the queue in the middle where I left off. I start the queue at the back all the time. And there are people in front of me passing, getting the passport checked, going through customs constantly, and I'm watching. So you learn to juggle, you learn to understand disappointments and what they do and what they bring to your life and what they teach you about yourself. So it was like a moment, for the entire 4 years, because we did the podcast in 2019.
Right.
So by then I had already moved back home, relocated back home in the Free State because I was at Rhodes in Makanda.
Yeah.
So I somehow doors closed that kept me there. It just shut down before my eyes. So the only way back was to go home. But going home for me, contrary to what people think it does to you, did not translate to me being down and out. I never wanted to admit that I'm down and out. I never felt that I was down and out. I felt I'm in a space where I have to recuperate again.
What does that look like?
It looks like being in a tunnel. I know it sounds so cliche.
Yeah.
It really looks like being in a very long tunnel with water, ankle deep water, sometimes knee deep, sometimes waist deep, and you don't know and you're right in the middle of the tunnel, and it's dark. You don't know if you should go back or you don't know if you should march on. So the logic to me was, look, there's only way out. You need to keep moving, one step at a time, one leap at a time, one moment at a time. It was a huge battle spiritually, psychologically. It tested my character. It taught me a lot about hard work, what hard work is. So when I was in matric,
So before you got there, you didn't know what hard work was, or
Look,
did
I
you
was
have a distorted picture?
I was hardworking anyway.
Yeah.
But being home or being at that stage in my life, it forces you to reflect on a lot of things. It forces you to soul search. It forces you to understand that you are in this not because the world is punishing you, but because you need to be here.
Yeah.
For me to be a postdoc at JIAS, I needed to go through the fire. I needed to be resilient. I needed to be patient. I needed to constantly talk to myself and say, listen, you are here. As soon as you are done, I'm taking you out. I am taking you out for a nice meal somewhere. I am flying you to Thailand. I am taking you for counseling because I realized I needed counseling just to make sure that I'm okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's a beautiful level of self-awareness, though.
yes. That's what I'm saying. It taught me a lot. I remember it taught me a lot about myself, things that I didn't know about myself. I didn't know I can be so resilient. I didn't know that I knew I'm a hard worker, but I didn't develop a positive outlook on the concept of hard work because when I was in matric,
Yeah.
firstly, I did subject that I should not have done because I'm a social science person. Somehow I was in a natural science stream. Don't know why, but I had an epiphany late 2007 when I was in the middle of my final exams that man, you should not have done this physics, biology. If it was called life science, that you're not cut out for that. But you should have done social sciences and all of that. So people used to say, because I'm gonna show you where this thing comes from. People used to say, "Well, it's not that smart. It's just a hard worker," and it, it, I'll be so offended. But I'll tell you why I stopped being offended, and and my matric results reflected that analogy, that thinking, and it weighed me down even worse. But I remember one of my high school teachers came to him and said, "But the bottom line is you are going to UFS. Sometimes that's all you need."
That's all that matters.
Yeah, like that's it. And I thought, but no, but I wanted to be the top 200 in the Free State. I felt I needed to be that. But people are like, well, if you think you're smart, how come you're not in the top 200? What do you say to that? And fast forward to recently, someone also said the same thing to me. Well, you, they were talking behind my back
Yeah.
again. Well, you're not, you're not that smart. You're just a hard worker.
Is this recently? You said?
Recently, and now I'm gonna take you back to the time I spent home, like the whole issue of self reflection, what have you. So I started to think about what is hardworking. I remember I called one of my friends. She's doing a PhD in the in Colorado in Boulder right now. So I called her and I said, "Look, so and so said I'm not that smart. I'm I'm just a hard worker." And then she said to me, "Look, man, hardworking is a different type of talent. It's a different type of smartness. You are at a stage in your life where you realize that the moment you realize that talent is not enough, you need to put in the work. You need to you need to sharpen the talent. You need to spend the hours. You need to sleep on time. You need to be disciplined. You need to read more, learn more. You cannot go into the space and think, well, I'm talented, I'm smart, and not want to be in a space where you have cognitive flexibility. If I go to business school, I don't have business background. I'm an historian, but I need to understand how the business school functions and work according to their ethics and what have you. So that will not make me an A student because that's not my forte. But it will make me but me completing my course on time or whenever I complete it speaks to my level of awareness around my talent and how it alone cannot be enough.
Just
So
hold that
basically,
thought. I just want to ask you something.
yeah,
Do you think one can be agile in their talent?
yeah. I think that's what I'm basically saying. It's called grit. That
Okay.
you know you you work hard because you know that talent alone is not going to bring results.
Yeah.
So my friend said, look, man, hard working alone, being a hard worker, it's the most underrated talent on its own. Not everybody has it. You can have the most talented, the most beautiful woman, what have you, but they don't have the work ethic. So having the talent and having the work ethic,
Yeah.
that alone, it's a dangerous combination. And in my hometown, I have so many people who are way smarter than me,
100%.
but there isn't that something's amiss because there isn't that realization that as much as you are talented, you still need to work hard. So that changed how I look at things. But being home, the time I was home, so that was between 2019 and 2022. The time I spent home wrapping up my PhD, I was going through that highest level of anxiety, highest level of stress, lack of sleep. So I have to speak to myself quite a lot and say, listen, man,
Rejection.
rejection. I was told that I write like I'm on a PhD level, by the way, that time. I was told that I write like a high school history matriculant. That's how I write. And along the way, okay, now I write like a third year history student. Okay, well, at least there's a there's a
Hierarchy.
yeah. So
Climbing. Yeah.
yeah, so I think because you're doing PhD for the first time, it's okay to not have everything figured out. I had to learn that too. The fact that you're doing PhD means you are yet to figure things out. So in figuring things out, you're not gonna come into the space all packaged. You're gonna be a mess. But we shouldn't focus on the mess that you are as you go. We should focus on the bigger picture. Once you finish, how will your thesis look like? How will the end product look like? So those are the things that I wish I was told. But I also had to learn that no one is gonna come and validate you. Because I was seeking external validation a lot. I felt it fulfilled me because I was empty inside, because I was always nervous. I did not know what is this, how to do it, how to figure it out. But at some point I needed that reminder that the fact that you haven't figured it out qualifies you to do it.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about unsolicited thoughts, especially when you get into an environment that is totally new, that's challenging at the same time.
Yeah.
Chances are you are going to get those unsolicited thoughts that
Yeah.
make you feel like you're not good enough, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
And how did you manage that?
I remember at some point, so I did my PhD in 6 years
Okay.
because I spent the first three doing data collection all over the country in the archives and in Eswatini as well. So I remember for the first 3 years, I sought validation elsewhere because of not knowing how to find my way around this. And the problem was the person I was seeking validation from saw my vulnerability and decided, well, I'm going to kick the man when he's down. So the moment I realized that I don't need anybody's validation, I'm good enough, I'm a good writer, I'm not here by default. That moment, that epiphany changed everything to a point where when I started building my self confidence, I started to entrust other people to read my work. And the kind of feedback they gave me validated what I needed, what I started believing about myself, that I'm a good writer, I'm a good researcher. So so at that point, I remember we got to the point where my study leader thought, well, I'm not going to I don't think this is good enough. I don't think you'll pass. I don't think you'll make it. I started to think, okay, but on the other hand, there are people who believe in this. There are people who feel this is good enough. I remember one of my critical readers saying, "Look, man, out of all the PhD theses I've read recently, this one has highest level of research. Sometimes writing, putting things together might not be your strong point, but the level of research, it's out of this world. And the others literally showed me how to find that niche. It's like everything was already there. The idea was only to the packaging, how to make it look, how to make it, how it looks, how it reads, and all of that. So it literally took me 3 years to figure out, to go back again and rebuild my self confidence, because I needed that. But ultimately, what happened was I was told, look, you're not submitting this PhD with me, because if it fails, my name is on the line. So you say I submitted this thing on your own. So I had to ask myself, do I think my work is good enough to submit it now or not? Then I thought to myself, look, my work is good enough. I am submitting with or without you. Then fast forward to, let's say, 2 weeks later. Now there has to come a time where the form has to be signed. There where the supervisor had to tick, do you submit with or without him? The supervisor still ticked without him. So I submitted my PhD by myself. So so it was like I came full circle,
Dude.
from coming into the university space as this confident young
Yeah.
man to being in a space where their confidence is crushed down because people don't think you're gonna be a good academic. Because I remember I was told, actually, you make good coffee. You should consider being a
Wait,
restaurateur.
what?
And I thought, actually, I love cooking, and I am gonna be a restaurateur at some point, but not on on your terms, right? So, and your writing's too verbose, and your writing's too ideological. And I'm thinking, but why don't you just teach me how to write? And this boils down to when I started schooling for the first time ever in '96. I was doing grade one. I had my high school teacher kicking me out of the class. Like I had this traumatizing moments that would have made me hate school. But because there's this fire inside of me that keeps on burning, I knew that I had to continue counting on the voice inside. So I needed to fix the voice inside, because I knew if the voice inside is messed up, we're not gonna go anywhere.
How do you fix the voice inside? What does that look like?
It looks like, what's your favorite mall
Favorite mall
in Johannesburg?
in Joburg? I'd say maybe
Waterfall,
Mall of Africa,
Mall of Africa,
Santon City.
Sandton City.
Yeah, yeah.
So if someone comes to you and say, "Look, man, this Sandton City is beautiful, but you need to bring it to the ground and rebuild it again," because many people love it so much. Many
Yeah.
people think it's the biggest mall, the most beautiful mall in the continent, but there's a fault with it. For us to fix the fault inside the mall, we need to bring it down first and rebuild it again. Do you think?
So you can't take shortcuts.
No, I have to do the shadow work. You know, the ego, the persona, and the shadow. I have to do the shadow work. Now the ego is gone. The ego is crushed completely. So taking shortcuts would mean you're still feeding on the ego. So I have to come to terms with the fact that the ego is finished, the ego is gone. To a point when I was home, I literally looked like a zombie because I was so disconnected from my hometown, what is happening around me. I had to block the noise inside and outside, literally and figuratively, and focus on the voice inside that keeps telling me, that keeps asking me, dude, where to from here? Are we really what people think you are? Or are we really what you think you are? Who takes center stage here? Is it, do you take center stage, or do they take center stage as far as decision making of your life is concerned? I have to rework on those things internally so that I rise again. I don't let people step all over me. So I had to dig very deep. I have to, that's why I've said I learned a lot about myself, in the sense I didn't know how deep I am. I had to dig very, very deep inside of me to find a little voice that keeps on saying, but you know you're good enough. You know you're amazing. You
Do we
know
all
you're
have that
awesome.
voice?
It's there. Everybody has it. But you can only uncover that, not discover, uncover that when you do the shadow work. When life forces you to do
I
the
like
shadow
that.
work. Yeah.
You can only uncover, not
Yeah.
discover, because it's
Yeah.
there.
It's there. It's always you're born with it. But life has to
So it's a matter
test.
of reaching,
Yeah,
reaching for
life
it.
has to test you so much to a point you are left with no option but to do the shadow work. Like you've hit rock bottom. The beauty about hitting rock bottom is that the
It's
only
up.
way is up. There's no like those are that's the beauty of life. The only way is up. You're only going up. So I had to think of those things, the logic, the alignment, like all this crazy stuff
Yeah.
to understand that, look, man,
Dude.
you are not down and out. No, you can't be down and
It's
out.
crazy. No.
Not you. Nah, not you. Not after you fought so hard to be where you are. Not after you've had amazing people in your life who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself.
I'm going to interrupt you there. You talk about
Yeah.
working so hard to get to where you are.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of challenges. A lot
Yeah.
of
A
challenges.
lot. Yeah.
Can you maybe just give us a timeline? You mentioned your high school teacher, right, in
Yeah.
grade one, who kicked you out of class.
Yeah.
So just give us a timeline from the inception of you going to school,
Yeah.
from grade one
Yeah.
to you getting your PhD,
Yeah.
and the challenges that you faced.
Okay, so grade one, 1996.
Yeah.
TKZ drops their first album. We'll get to that. So 91, I got kicked out of class. First quarter of the year, look at how vulnerable I am, how gullible I am. I even dropped out of crash. I didn't finish crash. So I get to high school, 96, because that was the year I was turning 7. But I get kicked out for something I don't even know. I'm a kid. I don't understand how these things work.
You get to primary.
This is primary.
Yes.
And that I get over. I don't know how much it traumatized me.
Why did they kick you out?
I don't know. I don't know why I was kicked out. I think I don't know the real reason, but I was kicked out because I probably didn't have school shoes or something like that. That doesn't warrant anyone kicking a child out. You see?
Stupid, really.
Exactly. So so everything got things got better.
Yeah.
Obviously, and now we have how I perform ever since until
Okay.
grade 7. Top students always performing well, always getting awards for outstanding performance in grade 6, grade 4, what have you. I get accustomed to that. So I get the best 7 years of my life. I keep saying the best 7 years of my life ever are in primary. Because that's when I felt they almost touched on that Montessori approach to
Yeah.
education. Because they were teaching according to how you think. There was a lot of repetition, like to a point where you're not gonna study. You already remember what you need to remember because of the teaching methodology they use, teaching techniques they've used. And then I get to high school, so I get high school 2003 until 2007, and all of that starts to I start to drop my performance. So I was doing well from grade 1 until grade 10. Once I start, they call it the FET phase, grade 10, 11, and 12. So grade 10, grade 11, and 12, I didn't really do that well because I started to realize I'm not really into the physical science, biology, what have you, natural science stream. I should have been in a social science stream. So that sort of that's where my trouble started, because now there's nothing you can do about it, and you don't even have good teachers for those subjects. In fact, the teachers who inspired me to do those subjects left immediately. Left the year after I started. Left in grade 9. When I came back to the same school in grade 10, 2005, they were gone. Teachers who had high level, high, you know, they're so ethical. Their work ethic was out of this world. They left. Those who remained, questionable work ethic,
Yeah.
and that affected everything. But we knew, or at least I knew, that I'm going to university when I finish matric. So I had to work as much as I could with so little support, so little resources. And someone once said to me, "Look, man, the way you passed the matric, it's all your hard work. Imagine if you had the support you needed, we would be talking a different story."
100%.
So you need to acknowledge the fact that you knew where you wanted to go, you knew what you wanted, and that alone speaks to how wise you were at such a very young age. And you kept on manifesting, you kept on dreaming and talking about, writing literally. I used to literally write my life down in future tense. I remember one of my math teacher once saw me writing that, talking about having a PhD, blah blah blah, and then I was so surprised. And I still have my diary, 2003. I saw myself being where I am today. I wrote it down. It's still there. So that alone, I think it kept me going. But it was so difficult because now you are disconnected again. That's where the very first phase of my disconnection to my community started. Well, it wasn't as extreme, but I feel I needed to get somewhere. For me to get somewhere, I needed to read as much as I could, to learn how to speak English, how to enunciate certain words. Every day after school, on my way home, I stop by the library. I leave when the library closes. I used to hate weekends because there's no school. I used to love Sunday nights with all my heart, because Monday
Yeah.
there's school. The good smell of your white shirt. It smells, stay soft. Your shirt is ironed and you look good. You feel good.
Polish your shoes.
Yeah, so I used to enjoy that. I used to almost be like I'm institutionalized, because there was no any other outlet for me to be myself outside the school environment in my community. So that used to be my thing, my safe space. But I've met so many people who tried so hard to make the difficult and awful space for me. So fast forward to first year, horrible, difficult first year, no resources. Took me an hour to go to. I was staying in Willows.
Yeah.
It took me an hour to get to UFS campus, to get to Rosemarine, not to the bridge or to the lab or to FGG. Those went to UFS know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. But to get to the third, was it the second gate or what?
It was the second. Yeah, it was the
Yeah,
second
just
gate.
outside the Free State Provincial Archives, that gate. It took me 1,000 years to get there by walking every day. Now, when you get there, you still need to walk all the way up to Stabilis, all the way up to,
Dude.
yeah. So I would walk every day. So then I started to develop a work ethic. I thought, okay, so you're gonna be an 8 to 4 type of guy. You're gonna leave campus when you've done your assignment, when you've done your classes, because when you get home, there's no space for you to study. So do whatever you need to do here. If you have a class now and you have a 2 hour break in between, you're at the library. If you're not at the library, you're at a computer lab. You need to type that assignment. So it took a lot for me, and it kept me so focused that I started to neglect other parts of me, the social life, how I look. I was not really good looking guy. I wasn't wearing good clothes. I don't have to wear expensive, but I was not really stylish, because I was always preoccupied with, trying to make sense of the world, trying to know how to speak properly, because I was mumbling. Because I'd never seen someone who would make me feel what you are doing is relevant. In hindsight, I would say I was a pioneer. When you're a pioneer, there's no role model you can identify with, because you are the one who's charting the way for the first time, maybe in your generation or in your ancestry or in your community. So it has always been difficult for me in that sense. So then I got to master's level 2012, 2015 UFS. That's when I started to be told that I'm not good enough. I'm not cut out for academia. I make good coffee. I took that as a very, very huge compliment, because I do make good coffee. Make it creamy. not gonna talk about that now, but but I've always known at the back of my mind that if I was not an academic, I'll be a Michelin star chef because I love food.
I believe that.
Yeah, I love food. I
Yeah.
love how the food tastes. I love how the food, the history of food. I'm always following the history of food. I watch a lot of documentaries on food. I have many cookbooks. Most of them I have an entire history of food. I, for me, it's realizing that I've survived so much in my throughout my for me to get here that I need to start living because I've been surviving. So to leave also became a very difficult concept for me because I had a high level of cortisol in my bloodstream. You know that fight or fight uh, energy where I started getting used to the struggle so much that I don't see anything outside that. So now in 2022, when I got my degree completion letter, I for my PhD, I started struggling now to. It's like my body started to struggle to understand that we're no longer fighting now. The war is over. Now you need to relax, you need to take it easy and breathe. So I happen to have a lot of anxiety again and stress because it became something new for me. So I was not born like that. Challenge that I faced put me through that stage. My body started to build a defense mechanism to protect itself. So now, when it no longer had to protect itself, I struggled. I got hit by another episode of anxiety and stress
Yeah.
because my body's saying, "Look, dude, we're not used to this. What's going on?" So I have to slowly bring it back to the point where I understand that finally I'm a doctor. I got my PhD. I have my degree completion letter. I'm graduating soon. I'm a postdoc now. Like all that I've ever that one thing that I've worked so hard for from the day I set my foot in a school environment to when I got it, it's done. It's accomplished. So
Yeah.
it took me. I had to do counseling. That's where the issue of counseling comes. I haven't done Thailand. I've done. I said I'm going to take myself out to have a good meal, which I've been doing quite a lot here in Johannesburg. And secondly, counseling. I underwent counseling just to to continue doing the shadow work, to make
Yeah.
sure that I'm okay. Self awareness, self actualization.
He
For me,
wanted
is
to take me to Guamai, just by the way, but apparently the place is disgusting. So I don't know, hey? Like,
well, my entire PhD it's on the man who got the epithet Mai. Solomon Sane, one of the ANC founders.
100%.
Yeah, so for me, that's what going on my mind meant. He was a compound manager there from 1895 until 1914 when the First World War started. The first and only black for almost 20 years. So it was paying homage to him, even though, and you know what is ironic? Even though he was the neatest of all the compound manager, if he was around, he would not allow the place to be so dirty,
Yeah.
in inverted commas, and the way it is now. Because the men who were under his leadership were neat, were well fed, the place was hygienic, it was neat, it was spick and span. But now it's the opposite. So,
It's crazy.
yeah,
How do you navigate getting into, I mean, you and I spoke about this off camera. You said to me that you paid Lobola, was it in Feb?
in May,
In May, sorry.
yeah,
How do you navigate getting into, number one, a relationship
yeah,
when all of that is happening?
yeah.
And also deciding that, hey, I'm actually going to marry this woman.
Remember, I said to you, I neglected a lot of
Yes.
things because I was obsessed with writing a good English sentence. If I could know what is a verb, what's an adjective, what is a noun,
What is a
what is a
pronoun?
pronoun, what have you, I'm happy. You've given me the world. If you can say you know how to do it. So ironically, most of my relationships collapsed along the way because I don't know why. Maybe they will tell me. But
They won't have an opportunity to do that
of
because,
course,
yeah,
anymore. But I don't know why. But what I could read from from the situation was I'm too focused. So I couldn't meet someone who wanted to compliment, who would say, okay, you are too focused, but when we get home, we have a laundry to do. And I'm in no way saying I have to do my laundry, but someone who'd compliment, who'd understand this is, it's like being a soccer player. When you are, when you have someone in your life who's a soccer player, you know their mentality, you know their psyche. So I could not really meet someone who like, okay, I know the psyche of a hardworking guy. You see, and coming to that realization was actually we met at UFS 1,000 years ago, but life happened to a point we drifted apart because I guess it just wasn't time. And then we met again the second time. So 2012 I was doing on my honors,
yeah,
and that's when we met. She was doing first year. Don't worry, the age gap is not that massive. It's only 3 year age gap. It's not more than that. I wouldn't survive a day going beyond that.
yeah,
Sorry.
good.
Yeah. So I guess it just wasn't time because the way I look at it from where I'm standing now, it just wasn't time. But if I were to think back, I would say I was ready. She wasn't ready. And then we drifted apart. Then 2015, I graduate my masters. I leave UFS, and then a year later, go to Makanda, do first year PhD at Rhodes. And a year later, 2017, we reconnect again. Then I said, okay, you can visit me now. Come to Makanda. Then we start to. So when she comes, it's like, hey, do you remember what happened in 2012? I'm ready now. Tony Braxton released an album with
Babyface.
Babyface, Love, Marriage, and Divorce.
Yeah.
There's a song, so I wanna be your soldier, I wanna be your man. You know that song.
It's one of my favorite songs
Yeah,
actually. I remember it.
yeah,
Yeah,
she literally came singing that song. She said, "I wanna be your lady, won't you be my man? I wanna be your soldier." And I was like, "No, I'm not about that life."
is that what you said to her?
Yeah, I was not in a good space at that time. I remember how at that time I was busy with my field work,
Okay.
and I hardly lived in Makanda that year because I was traveling all over the country doing my field work. I spent a month in Pietermaritzburg, I spent a month in Cape Town, I spent a month in Pretoria, in Bloem, in Eswatini. I was on the move. So I thought my definition of a good wife is a woman who subscribes to money, power, status. Because I thought those things made, you know, turn my world around. But I was wrong because I later realized, no man, I could have been in a good space if I wanted to. I just was not keen. So I had to tell her, no, I can't be your man. So that really drifted us apart.
The song is called "I Want to Be Your Baby."
Yeah, that song. So she wanted to be my baby. I thought, no, you can't be my baby. Then I started to regret it and I started to ask her out again. She was like, nope, I'm not having any of that. So last year, we reconnect again. This is the third time now, the third bite of the cherry.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, then I said to her,
Jesus
hey,
rose on the third
you
day.
see, come on now. So I said to her, listen, I need to bring you to Johannesburg. We need to talk. So, and I said to her, you know what I like about you? One, when we first met, we bumped into each other and you just like the guy I am. I was not good looking. I was not well dressed. I was just normal dude you would always pass. I didn't look like I matter. I was just a normal person. So, but you saw something in me, and I would say you initiated this conversation, this chapter that we are writing together. I think don't I would say you're the creator. I was just acting it out. You saw it first, and you made me see it. Then I ran with it, making it look like I'm the one who initiated it. And this time around, I said to her, you coming to Johannesburg made me realize that wherever I will be in the world, it'll always be there. If I was in England and I said to you, I'm in England, come visit, I know you'll be in the first plane to England to visit. The fact that you traveled all the way to Makan just to be with me, which was not really a good trip for you because you came back disappointed. And I was not fair on her at that time, obviously. So 2022, fast forward to 2022, no, 2023 rather. It's 2024 now, right?
Yeah.
2023.
Last year.
Last year, yes. So we started to have the same conversation again, and I said to her, if we don't make this official, you will never, ever, ever have another shot at it again.
That was wisdom, Taps.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, some of my relationships, I've made so many mistakes in being too impulsive in my decision making
Making,
process,
yeah.
including how I've treated her. But in hindsight, they say hindsight is the best science. So in hindsight, I realize, no, man, if there's one woman in this world if you were to be given a chance to be with again, in your past, who would it be? So it wasn't difficult for me to say, I need you to come to Johannesburg
Yeah.
and
Oh no, I'm not showing you anything.
oh, you're not showing me anything. Okay. I needed you to come to Johannesburg, and I needed to talk to you. We needed to talk. So we spoke. And to this day, she still says, I don't know how you
Convinced me.
I don't know how you convinced me. You don't know how to share. I'm like, come on, I'm an academic. I don't need to do it like Mvana Kukas. She was like, no, when I want share. I'm like, no, but I did. I took you out. We went to watch a play in Sentin. We went to watch Solomon on stage. We had eats in Sentin.
Was that
How is that not romantic?
okay?
How is that not saying, hey, I want to be your man?
It's not saying anything, Taps.
No, it's about putting words to action.
Yeah, but still.
I trust you. I'm not like South African writers. I trust you enough to add to it. I put a storyline in front of you. You figure it out. I don't make it too obvious for you.
my gosh.
There's level of profundo. There's level of wisdom. There's level of thinking, intellect involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. In as much as I should make it too obvious for
I hear
them.
you.
Yeah. But then I ask you, but I paid Lobola. So how are we here if I did not share you? We are here. So what are you saying when you say I did not make a move? I made my move. So I had to, we had to talk about it and say, look, if you don't, because she kept on saying, no, look, I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't think I'm in a good space. Then I said, but if we don't do this now, we'll never ever find another chance. I'm saying I said that because then we're in our 20s. And I always felt that between 20 and 30, it's a good time for me to figure things out. But I've always known that my priority right now in my life is my education. Whoever wants to be in my life has to ride on that wave. So I wasn't patient enough to wait for the right woman to come into my life and make it more meaningful than I've made it more than I have made it to be. So I ended up meeting people I should not have wasted my time on, but that also came with good lessons,
Yeah.
and I appreciate them. I also made some blunders, which I owned up to at that time.
Yeah.
So the long and short of it is that I'm looking at how there are too many culminations, if there's such way of putting it, in my life where all these streams run parallel with each other. They all culminate to that moment, my moment of destiny. So where I finally meet the one I want to spend my life with, I finally get my PhD, like where everything just falls into place. And now I'm in a different dimension altogether.
Is she the love of your life?
She's always been. It took moving to Johannesburg to realize that she is actually. And I wouldn't have promised to marry her if I didn't feel she's the one.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had to. I never even thought we'd ever be together because when you guys go separate ways, life happens. And you go through life not thinking too much about her, but you keep on thinking, ah, man, I haven't seen her toes in a very long time.
Yeah.
Just beautiful
Oh,
toes.
you love her toes?
She has beautiful lips. She has a beautiful nose. Her sense of humor. She's home. She feels like home. You know, she loves him like cooked food. That's a Jay-Z line, but hey. But the point is, you feel at home. You know,
I hear
have
you,
you ever been in
bro.
a space where someone makes you feel at home? When you're with her, you feel I'm at home. You feel like
And this is all that matters.
yes, you feel like I've seen you before. Maybe in a past life, you were mine and I was yours. Okay, that's Aretha Franklin's song.
Yeah.
But I resonate with you know the song called Wonderful? Yeah, but I resonate with that a lot. Yeah. It's sometimes it's indescribable. Sometimes I don't know how to put it. Sometimes it's amazing. I keep telling her I cannot believe my life it turned out so beautifully. My life turned out exactly the way I imagined it. You know, that alone is another blessing that I'll always be grateful of. My life has always been not materialistic, but it has always been so enriching, so fulfilling because I'm one of the few people who are living their dreams.
Wow.
I think that alone it's another form of superpower because I literally manifested my life and it literally turned out the way I imagined it would turn out,
That's beautiful.
including the woman I'm settling down with.
That is very beautiful.
Yeah. So when I realized that I made a blunder, I was so hard on myself and I was so mad at myself. But I had to understand that look, man, you went Eric Benet. You let the baddest girl in the world get away.
Yeah, this man, he's quoting so many songs. Gosh.
That's Jay-Z.
Oh my gosh. Dr. Thapelo Mokoatsi, ladies and gentlemen. What a gentleman.
Yeah.
Dude, what is a monograph?
It's a book.
Are you writing a monograph?
Yeah,
right now?
I'm converting my thesis into a book, a monograph. Yeah. You know, academics, we love using fancy language.
Yeah.
It's just a book. A monograph is a book.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I have
It's
to,
on your thesis.
yeah, now I'm converting my thesis into a book. Yeah, so that's part of my obligations.
Yeah.
As a postdoc, I have to publish like a madman. Yeah, in order to get a promotion and get to an associate professor level, because I'm hoping it comes one day. I'll work hard enough to get there. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I am right now. I'm in a different stage, different level altogether. But now I'm learning that I need to tie everything together because it cannot only be my books, it cannot only be the academic life. I had to step out of it a bit and try to see it did feel like a fish out of water moment for me, but I had to snap out of it a bit just to see what else is going on.
100%.
Yeah, because I can't always be cooped in the same sport.
Yeah. I want us to chat politics a bit.
Yeah,
29 May, we had the general elections, right?
yeah,
Pivotal moment for South Africa.
yeah. Well, yes,
You voted.
yeah, of course.
Okay.
7th national elections. I voted 4 times. Last week. Was it this week? This week,
It was on Wednesday this week.
Wednesday. It feels like
Yeah,
feels like
100%.
feels like next week today.
It's been a, yeah.
I think the Wednesday holiday sort of split the week apart. Yeah.
You know what? I was thinking about something in the morning, and I thought to myself, I'm going to ask you this thing. Do you think there's a psychological complex people have when it comes to political parties?
Yeah.
I was on a call with a friend of mine earlier on, actually yesterday, last night, and we were just touching on what's happening, the results, and you look at the ANC, how the numbers have dwindled.
Yeah.
It's a big loss.
Yeah.
I think 2019 they were at 56-57%.
Yeah.
Right now, let me actually see.
Okay.
I think they are at 30. Not 30.
41.
40 point something.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get the majority.
Yeah.
So my friend says to me, our hometown is the Northwest, and he says often people there are complaining about the ANC, right? They never have water. Electricity comes and goes like crazy, right? And these people are always complaining about the ANC. And then come elections, the very same people who are complaining go and vote for the ANC.
Yeah.
So I thought there must be some psychological complex,
Yeah.
some indebtedness. Can you maybe just explore that for us?
Politics 101, one of the main characteristics of a dominant party is that they're psychological self-perpetual.
Okay.
Well, that's one. So I don't know if I should say it is because of the nature of of the fact that ANC is a dominant party that people are going through what they're going through, or it is the people themselves who are actually the problem.
Okay.
So there's that. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ANC is a dominant party. One of the nature of dominant parties is that they're psychological self-perpetual. They don't have to do a lot of hard work. Everything is self-perpetual. They know we know you're gonna vote for us. Why should we work hard? We know we're not gonna deliver water, but we know you're gonna vote for us. We have no worry in that regard. We actually know our demographics so well that those old pensioners who lived through apartheid, they will vote for us. Their children, great grandchildren, or grandchildren, they will vote for us. We know. Why should we do the work? On the other hand, what's the alternative for the people? If you have someone like Jacob Zuma, someone whom people can resonate with so much after Nelson Mandela. In fact, Mandela was a token president, if I may put it that way. He was not where the people were at, but he was there. He was this larger than life icon. But Zuma was a bit of both. Not quite the same as Mandela, but he was on the ground. Before he spoke, in a public space, he would crack a joke, he would dance.
Yeah.
That's how you resonate with the people. If he was doing it in the name of ANC, it was almost as if he's carrying out the legacy of Mandela. Because the moment you think ANC, you think Mandela. But that along the way stopped. People stopped associating Mandela with ANC to a point we stopped celebrating Mandela Day.
Yeah.
BET started making it an International Nelson Mandela Day. They started having this campaign, this US celebrities observing the day more than us, because I think the year earlier at some point we stopped, with this Nelson Mandela Day. So it becomes difficult because people don't have an alternative outlet, and also people don't know how to be in a space where they make their own decision because of the popular narrative. Who's gonna vote for? Who's gonna take your view if not us as the ANC? And also, how are you going? Who are you going to vote for? Who has given you housing? Who has given you roads? Who has given you flashing toilets? What have you? So ANC has not made people aware, or your political education has not made people aware that the nature of the state or the government is to provide services for its citizens. It does not matter which political party is in place. You and I can run South Africa because the state is there to provide resources for us to be able to run the country. The country is not running because of the ANC. The country is running because of the state. So you can have anyone else. You can have any government you like. But it doesn't change the fact that we are in this territory called South Africa, and the state runs, and the state has its own apparatuses, and the state has its own responsibilities and duties to its citizens. So it's a political thing that people are not aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if people were aware that actually we can put anyone we like and we can remove them just like that.
We have the power.
We have the power. We could have done that 1,000 years ago. Or not literally, but is that I think people are misinformed. It's that level of ignorance that ANC has benefited from. And also it's also about how everybody thought that, or everybody think that the way to chart our way forward as South African citizens is informed by what the government says.
Yeah.
For example, Zimbabwe, as early as 1940, 20 years before the independence, the what you can call national message, or the common message nationally, was, if you want to climb up the social ladder, you have to go to school and be educated. That's the way to go. But when Mandela said it, it sounded like a rhetoric. People were disconnected from that. He was disconnected from the people because he never danced on stage. People could not resonate with him the way they resonate with Zuma. So in South Africa, what was the common message? Reconstruction and Development Program. We are going to take of you. We are going to provide services for you. We are going to do this. So we this is our campaign as the ANC. We're gonna build you housing, we're gonna build you blah blah blah. So it got to the point where we are now standing in the queue, and the ANC realized, well, there are not enough resources to take care of everyone. So now what do? We keep on feeding them the rhetoric. But before 94, when you have the end of the Second Anglo-Boer War between the British and Afrikaner, you had a situation where there was what you call what's the word, uh, where the Afrikaner community and economy was destroyed because of the war, and the British had to compensate for that, to say how this is how we balance the equation. 1990, the Berlin Wall, West Germany was a capitalist site, East Germany was not. So once the wall broke down, they have to balance the equation by ensuring that everybody starts on an equal footing. We never had that. We only had a rhetoric. So that ANC used quite a lot to appeal to the psyche of the people, and it became psychologically self-perpetual because the dominant party, whatever you do, wherever you go, it's ANC. Even majority of South Africans, or millions of South Africans who did not vote for ANC, they're ANC people. Deep down, they love ANC.
100%.
Yeah, they love ANC, but because of it's not doing what it needs to do for the people, people are not going to vote for
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So it's that. So you can't entirely blame it on the people in as much as it looks like it. Because people on social media will be like, people who vote for ANC, they're officially certifiable. They're not officially I apologize if that's offensive. But they're not crazy. It's because this is a monster. This is a party that is over 100 years old. There's a rich history there. There's personal connections, personal ties to it. This is the party that fought for South Africans. People are holding on to that memory, that popular memory, because that's the only thing they can show since post 94. Perhaps if we had I'm forgetting this political term. Perhaps if black people were compensated for the ills that apartheid caused in 94
Compensated how?
financially,
Okay.
the same way the Afrikaners were in
Okay.
1910. The reason why we end up having what you call the Union of South Africa in 1910, because South Africa had 4 countries, they have to unite all of them. So we had 2 British colonies in Natal and the Cape, and then there were 2 Boer republics in Transvaal and Orange Free State. So they had to unite this into one. But for that unity to happen, they have to go back to the drawing board and say, "You've destroyed our livelihood, so now you need to compensate for that." That's how the union was formed. But with us, it's a different story. So people hold on to the little that they can hold on to, and this speaks to how all the centuries we've been losing so much that we can only hold on to nothing else but memory as black people.
Yeah.
Losing the land, what the land means, using the cattle, all that we've lost over the centuries, there has to be that one thing you can hold on to, even if it's not physical. So the ANC has been milking that vulnerability from the people. It has been making a meal out of that their ignorance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else can people do?
In terms of coalition government, what do you predict?
I don't like coalition governments. I don't trust the DA. They know I don't trust them.
They know.
Yeah, for example, before elections, somebody calls me from Gqeberha. They're like, "Hey, are you so and so?" Like, "Yeah, I am." And I'm like, "Who are you?" "No, I'm so and so from DA." "Okay, why are you calling me?" "No, no, no, I just got your number." "Where?" "No, it doesn't matter." "Okay, so why are you calling me?" "No, I'm calling to check if you're voting." "Of course I'll be voting." "So where are you registered?" "Oh, here in Gauteng." "Okay, good." Then I asked them, "Why DA?" And then she started saying, "Well, the ANC." I thought, "No, no, no, stop the lorry. YDA." She couldn't articulate it. I said, "But why would I vote for you if you're not able to show me? What can you do? Forget the ANC, but what can you do?"
Yeah.
Yeah. "You want to be a prefect in this class, in this grade 7 class? Don't tell me about Tabang. What can you do, Nathan? What can you do?"
I hear you.
Yeah.
But listen, we find ourselves in the situation right now. So somewhere, somehow, we have to strike a compromise.
Yeah, we have to.
So these are the options. I mean, ANC right now is sitting at, I think, 40.13. So they don't have majority.
Yeah.
So you have the MK, well, DA, MK,
EFF.
you have the EFF,
Yeah.
and then you have many more, as you see in events, posters.
Yeah.
If you were in the ANC, or if you were the ANC, what would your thinking be right now? Never mind the fact that, yo, I don't like this, I don't like that. But you are in a situation like this right now. And remember, coalition is a consequence, of the fact that you didn't perform well.
Yeah.
So what is your thinking?
Wow. So, well, I cannot speak authoritatively, right, on behalf of the ANC.
100%.
It's my opinion.
It's your opinion.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, well, Thabo Mbeki should speak authoritatively on behalf of the ANC, not me. Look, the first thing I would do
You
is
still like the guy, just by the way.
not anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah, not anymore. I stopped because he says things that I don't really agree
Yeah.
with. I was so disappointed in him. So the first thing I would do is make do of the consequence of my actions.
Yeah.
I would take advantage of the consequence of my actions because 30 years later I've never been in this position before. And I keep on declining. I'm not improving, I keep on declining. And how that looks like. So I would consider the fact that I'm the only one who knows how to run the country more than anyone I'll be in a coalition with. So I'm still the big player here.
Yes, so experience in governance,
I'm
100%.
30 years deep, so you can't tell me nothing, you opposition. So I would roll with the punches. I would make do of the coalition or what is at offer on the table right now, because as a matter of fact, I know I should have been out. People were very kind to keep me, you know, to keep me afloat, but I know I should have. That ship should have plummeted.
But who would you want to talk to? Who would you talk to?
I'll talk to everyone. I would say, look, guys, beyond anything, let's not be emotional. Let's hear each other out. Let's figure out what is it that you see, because what is it that you see that you think you can do if you're in power, and what is it that I can do. So what you think you can do should you be in power, it's not the same as what I can do because I've been in power for 30 years. So I still have the upper hand. You don't have the experience to run government, and I'm sure you can run government because there's the state and there's the government. Those are the two entities, or sometimes they're used interchangeably. So it shouldn't be difficult for you as the opposition to run the government because you've been a spectator all along. You could see where I'm not getting it right. So how about you show me where I'm not getting it right, and then we find a way to work together. How do we? Because the best way to take the country forward is to work together. We are told that ANC has the best policies, that more than any other party in the country right now. But then you have to look at the DA's track record since they took power from the ANC, from Noma Indian Feket, who was the mayor of Cape Town. Since they took since uh, uh, they took power from Martinez van Schalkwyk, who was the premier of Cape Town. Well, it was Ibrahim Rasool later. But point is, ANC lost Cape Town Metro. They lost Western Cape. It seems they're losing Gauteng, or maybe they will win Gauteng by a small
They
margin.
will not.
You think so?
It's not happening.
You think so?
They are at 30 something percent.
Okay. Point is, we all have a stake in one another. We all can take the country forward if we realize that
We want the same thing.
we want the same thing, and there's a way around in terms of putting aside our differences and working together to take the country forward. If you put how DAs has been organized in terms of being effective, if you want to call it that,
Okay. Sure.
and if you take EFF's radicalism, if you want to call it that, or I think not radicalism. That's such a strong word. But if you take EFF's Vuma, and then you take ANC's experience, and you take DA's effectiveness, and you put all of this thing together, and you take Bantu Holomisa's calmness, you take Herman Mashaba's business smarts, like almost everyone here, and you take Musume Man, almost everyone
Brings
put
something to the
together,
table.
they bring something very special to the table. And at the end of the day, it's all about
But
South Africans.
why is that not the logic, Tubbs?
Because of politics. Politics, what's what's the definition of politics? The word literally means affairs of the city. So there are too many affairs in one city or the country that tears the country into different pieces. So you can almost call it an ego, political ego, if you want to call it that,
Gosh.
because it will take us doing the shadow work. I don't know at what scale really, because I don't think it will happen on a personal level. Considering these people are friends, they are close to each other.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, Musime Mani, Uncle Ham, Thorpenuka calls Seven Mashab Uncle Ham. They're friends. Duduzile Zuma is friends with Fikile Mbalula. So,
But we've heard it. We've seen it countless times how in Parliament, they at each other, they go at each other.
yeah.
And then after that, they meet up, sit down, have
Yeah.
drinks,
Yeah.
eat food together, and
Yeah.
the one would say to the other one, "Hey man, why did you say this in Parliament?"
Yeah, I think we should start thinking whether what exactly is it that we should be focusing on as far as this whole situation is concerned. Are we aware that ultimately their main focus is not to deliver services to the people, but to spend time fighting about how those services how those services should be delivered.
Yeah.
And if they're not delivered the right way, DA will take the ANC to court, and it takes time, takes years, and then when if they lose the case, they will complain that there were underhanded tactics there, and now the focus has shifted. It's no longer about fixing housing issues in Kailicha. It's about taking ANC to court, and time runs out. 5 years later, we are having seventh national elections. We haven't dealt with the issues that we need to deal with. So there are solutions. We know what our problems are. We know how to what our solutions are, but the ideology behind implementing those solutions is what is killing us.
Let me throw this in the works. How does a ANC-DA coalition look like, according to you? In fact, we can break down everything. So
Yeah.
ANC-DA, ANC EFF, ANC MK. Just in a hypothetical
Okay, so with ANC,
situation.
with ANC, you look at if you look at ANC and MK, you look at as ANC, you look at your shortcomings.
Yeah.
You don't focus too much on your strength because your strength is pronounced. We all know what you can do, but you focus too much on what you cannot do that the next party can do, and you compensate. In fact, you compensate for it in that way. You say, I lost KZN because of not understanding internal politics of KZN,
Northern Cape.
and then and that is how the other party capitalized. So you look at how you capitalize on my failures or me not be able to read the blind spot.
Okay.
Where there are blind spots, you manage to capitalize on that. So I need to go back to you and say, what can I learn from you as the ANC, and also what can you learn from me as MK? You've never been to government before,
Yeah.
so it's all about that. It's literally about putting aside our differences and say, you know what, we might come from different political institutions or parties, but the lowest common denominator here is people on the ground. ANC, EFF, it's more or less the same thing. The EFF policy is not that bad. The opening up of the borders, I have my reservations with that, but if it's like EFF has a way of pointing us to what we should be focusing on as a country. By the way in which they communicate, it sounds problematic. But the way the more you think about it, the more you realize actually they're onto something here.
Okay. My issue with the EFF is I think there could be risk of them alienating business, the private sector.
Not really, because that's what I'm saying. They sound scary. The way they put, we do need to nationalize banks.
Do we?
Wait. It. So let's instead of saying let's nationalize banks to benefit the people in this way, they are saying let's nationalize banks. That's scary.
So you're saying the messaging is the problem?
The messaging is the issue. If you say let's nationalize banks, that is so scary.
Don't you have experience in PR? Maybe you can be
No,
like,
no. I don't. I, no, I don't. So instead of saying it's like you're saying what you must do. You're not talking about why you must do it. So I need to talk to EFF and say, if you can focus on why, because nationalizing banks sounds problematic. But if you explain why we must do it, I'm sure the business will understand.
why must we nationalize banks, Taps?
Look, for me, I'm not an economist. I wouldn't know how to thoroughly communicate this point, but it boils down to those 5 questions, 4 W's and an H. Why? Why are we doing this? The why boils down to one thing: redressing apartheid injustices, because we haven't done that quite well. We are talking about building a nation, but how do you build a nation when we have 2 economies in one country? So would nationalizing the banks speak to that directly? Why do we think the banks should be nationalized in the first place? What is that we see that makes us think if we deal with this issue where we have super rich people and where you have Alexander and Sentin, if nationalizing banks would help us deal with that issue, then what is the safest way of doing it? So that's what I'm saying. With EFF, it's all about how you communicate the message. The message is it's not that bad. It's scary. It sounds radical, but if you were to sit on the table with them and say, okay, guys, come do a PowerPoint presentation to us and tell us why should we nationalize banks, you realize, oh, this is what you meant. You didn't literally say this should happen. So for me, the messaging is not, it doesn't, it's not well driven home, if I may put it that way. Yeah. So my point in the question of nationalization of the banks speaks to what is problematic about not nationalizing the banks. How does that affect us as majority of majority, as the people on as people on the ground? If in any way nationalizing the banks will have a direct impact on addressing our issues, how about to find a way of doing it the way it needs to be
But
done?
should the focus only be on that stakeholder? So the people on the ground? Should the focus only be them?
Look,
Civil society?
if your civil society is not up to scratch, we'll always have two economies.
But is it not better to have an approach that creates a balance and takes care of the broader stakeholders, so government, private sector, and civil society?
That has been happening for since '94.
Yes.
But even Tito Mboweni, when he was Minister of Finance, even when he was the governor of the Reserve Bank, he would explain it so well that we keep on giving private sector a lot of money to create jobs, but we don't know where that money goes. We get it. So that was, I guess, that was the agency's way of saying, instead of nationalizing the banks, let's find another approach. Let's increase the tax brackets. People with high tax brackets, let's increase tax so that that money goes to the civil society. Secondly, let's give let's give the private sector money so that they create employment, because it's not our job to create employment as the government. So so EFF needs to be very clear in making us understand why using the tax system is not helping us. Why giving money to the private sector is not helping us. Because if we were to do these three things, giving
Private sector.
private sector money to create employment, nationalization of the banks, and the tax issue, if these three things can achieve the same goal, so what is the safest way of doing it? And you can tell they've ignored these things, and by looking at what can be rhetorically popular, what could be a rhetorically popular thing to say as far as appealing to majority of people or certain pockets of people in the country, or in this in this in South Africa right now. People who subscribe to Pan Africanist ideology, people who read on radical on critical theory, people who understands that multi-party system, multiracialism is not gonna address our issues to the way they're meant to address them. So EFF speaks to that kind of populace, but it's how they put it that sounds very problematic.
I hear you, Tubbs.
Yeah,
I hear you. You spoke about uncovering the voice earlier on.
yeah.
Do you think we will uncover our voice as South Africa?
Yes, I think so. I really believe that we everything is there. Everything is it's in the sky. It's in atmosphere. You can just grab it and run with it.
Yeah.
We just need good leadership that will steer us into the right direction. You know, I think that's all there is to it as a country. Because
100%.
yeah, because I mean, living here, being a South African, living in South Africa, it's, do you need to live in Berlin when you live in Johannesburg?
Hey, man.
You don't need to live in Berlin. This is the best city in the world. You know, the only country that has the highest urban forest in the world. I mean, this is Johannesburg, the only city rather, the only city that's not very close to a river. How do you build a city far away from rivers? You get our water from Lesotho. So how do you? And they had to build a very long pipeline. like, like, so you realize that we just need to do the shadow work as a people, as a country. and like everyone needs to do the shadow work on a personal level. It's like it's like when it comes to black family structure, if one of the if you as a human being, first of all, if you have sisters, if I say you as a man, it sounds like I'm silencing your sisters, but I'm not taking away the fact that you're a man.
Yeah.
If you as a human being, it's not okay, it's not in good, you're not in good spirit, what do you think is going to happen to your entire family, your nuclear family? Everything's going to collapse. But if I'm okay, if I'm in good spirit, it means I'm going to have a good influence into my nuclear family, into my neighbors. The next thing, you have an entire community.
Ripple effect, yeah.
That ripple effect. So I believe the ripple effect can still go on and on and on and on and on, depending on the wavelength. I feel it can still be. Why do you have countries in the world that has high literacy rate like Zimbabwe? Why you have I read about, is it Finland? It is the safest country to a point. They don't have the military. Why can't we be like that? Because we have many social ills, social injustices that needs to be resolved. Until then, nothing ever is gonna work out. We continue having two economies. We continue having politicians speaking about, pretending to be speaking to us as a collective, but they're actually speaking to one part of the world. If you talk about a smart city, if you talk about how dangerous it is to nationalize banks, it means you're talking to black middle class. It's like what P.W. Botha did during apartheid. He was South African president from 1978 until 1989. He created the TBVC states, Transvaal, Transkei, Bophuthatswana, Venda, Ciskei. He built houses in Soweto. He became the first apartheid president to visit Soweto. So the thinking was, and he introduced the tricameral parliament, and he gave independence to your Kaiser Matanzima, your Mangope, and all of that. TK Mupedi, what have you. So the thinking was not to say, well, I love black people, guys, let's just stop this apartheid thing. The thinking was to make apartheid look good. So you appeal to the black middle class. If they can afford to buy land during apartheid and get houses and to go to university, have their own university, you need Kwa, you need Bo, investor vendor, what have you. You are making them think apartheid is good to a point they start defending apartheid because they think, you black people who are not as privileged as us, you guys are being unreasonable. There's no need to go into exile. There's no need to be radical. There's no need to want to take South Africa and push multi-party democracy. That's not necessary. All you need to do is to work hard, but we have a crappy system band education. So everything boils down to the messaging. It boils down to how powers that be are always aware of how it could be easy for us to uncover our voices, but they always shut those voices down. So it's that political machinery that keeps on silencing us. They're working so hard endlessly to continue silencing us, but they're not aware that we are conscious now. We know what's going on, and case in point, we didn't vote ANC because we see what's going on. And if ANC was to lose its power completely, and you have another party in power, the same thing will still happen. So it's a systematic issue. It's not only the ANC issue.
Dude.
Yeah.
We're not gonna stop. So I'm gonna stop this conversation.
You started. I'm a quiet guy. I don't talk too much.
Oh my goodness.
But he keeps making me talk. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I think you need to come back for another episode.
Okay.
Where we just touch on African history.
Yeah.
I know you're very passionate about that.
My bread and butter. Yeah.
But also a lot on politics.
Yes.
South African politics, but also global politics.
Yeah.
I'm doing my master's in international business. So I'm tapping a lot into the international market and finding a lot of things that are really interesting that I would love to explore with you.
Okay.
So I think we're going to have a second episode, Thapelo and I, Dr. Thapelo and myself. And yeah, it's been wonderful, dude.
Thank you.
I had fun.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the mic?
Man, I'm hooked.
I told
I
you.
want to come back again.
I told you.
My voice sounds better
I
in
told
front
you.
of the mic.
And listen, you are more than welcome, and you are a witness. You are more than welcome to come back whenever you want to. All you have
Okay.
to do is text me, touch. Can we do another episode? Come if you want to bring people, because there's a lot of mics that I have, so,
Perfect.
so we can connect four people
Okay.
and we just chat, dialogue. I know I wanted to have an open table, a round table rather, on one of the episodes, but I'll tell you about it,
Okay.
and then we can put it together. There's two round tables that I want to have. One with us, and then there's a married couple that I had on the podcast. I think it was episode 7. It was amazing. Lyndon, very amazing, and Alexis. So Lyndon and Alexis Johnston, they've been married for about 38 years, and they are still madly in love with each other. It's crazy. So I know we're gonna do a round table with them. It's gonna be amazing. Maybe you should also come for that.
Okay.
I think it would be very
I'll
interesting.
be your guest.
That said, do you want to say anything? Last thing? Last remarks?
Uh just to thank you
Yeah.
for the opportunity. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you a long time. Yeah, you're one of the coolest people I've met.
Yeah.
Thanks to Zubeida, the network, and so on and so forth. It's always nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
I think it still boggles my mind how you manage to remain so humble and so relevant and so cool. Like you can relate to everyone from
Yeah.
all walks of life. I think that's a superpower. So you need to hold on to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, but mostly just I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. You never said, well, what do you want to talk about? Because I also didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it formal because yesterday
Yeah.
I took my iPad, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was like, no, but next year you and I would have known each other for 10 years.
Damn.
Yeah, I met you in 2015.
2015. Oh, in Cape Town. Like, that's where you first met.
No,
Right?
we first met at UFS
At UFS. Okay.
where I was invited. There was a Mary Ann what's her name?
Mary Ann Blakely,
Blakely.
Professor Blakely.
Yeah, she was there. So I was invited. You guys had a meeting,
Yeah.
and I was invited into that meeting.
Yeah.
And I think you were there. Linda was there. Lerato was there.
Palisa was
Palisa
there.
was there. Palisa
Kia
Moe was there.
Kia was
Kia
Kia
was there. I can't remember who else was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you
Oh,
and I
that
got
time.
acquainted.
Damn.
And then obviously we did like a lot of the Cape Town trips.
Yeah, yeah. I think I every time when I think about how we met, it's always it's the first time that I remember now Kofsi days.
Yeah.
It's always Cape Town because that's where I see you a lot.
100%.
Yeah, that's where I see you a lot.
But we first got acquainted in
At Kofsi.
yeah.
Wow.
So next year would be
10 years.
10
10
years.
solid years.
yeah.
Damn.
And you and I still talk like brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing's changed.
No. It can never.
And it's beautiful.
It's
dude.
amazing. These are the moments that I always treasure because people don't get the idea that this is how life should be. Life is not about what can I get from you. I think I had a rude awakening when I first moved to Johannesburg that some people here, they're with you because they know I can call you and borrow something.
Yeah.
But they're not with you because they're sucker for good conversation, for good vibes, and that self-perpetual camaraderie that doesn't die because we haven't met or seen each other in a very long.
100%.
It's like a cactus plant. You need to water it; it grows either way without water, but it
Yeah.
keeps on growing even in the most driest seasons, driest areas. It grows anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's It's a blessing, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch.
And I know I sound so ecclesiastical. I sound so church now, but it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a
Yeah, so when
blessing.
I
Yeah,
got when I
yeah,
opened my iPad, I wanted to prep, but I was like, no, man, this is tops.
yeah. Thanks for not prepping because I feel like the first time when I hit you and say, "Hey, touch, I want to talk," it's because I there was something I wanted to say. I just
Yeah.
didn't know what I wanted to say.
Uh-huh.
So you helped me figure out as well what I
100%.
wanted to say in front of the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, people might think this is this is you know this is preempted.
Rehearsed, yeah.
Yeah, it's not rehearsed.
Yeah, I
It's
literally had
organic.
no prep. Like, there's my iPad. It's even flat.
Yeah.
It was a conversation.
But I'm a, even if I say so myself, I'm a product of possibilities. What can happen when you invest time and energy in working on yourself,
100%.
honing the skills? So it's like the universe prepared me for this moment.
100%.
All that I've been through from the beginning until now has prepared me for this moment. That's why I can hold a conversation with anyone,
Yeah.
any given time, about any topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you never asked me about Kaiser Chiefs. Did,
Look,
did I really have to wait for you to ask me when I look so Kaiser Chiefs? Come on,
so
man.
I'm a Man City fan, right?
I'm a Man United fan.
I'm a winner.
I mean,
So I don't like touching on things that just lose. Yeah, Kaiser Chiefs, no.
what is it?
No.
This is the biggest brand you could ever come across. And did you hear that? Come across.
You guys finished what? Number 10.
Wait. Let me
6 spots
let
to
me
relegation. Actually, 4.
look. One long nightmare, a decade now. The last time we lifted a trophy was in 2015. Funny enough.
Not 14.
2014, 2015 season.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Look, it happens to the best.
Dude, this is Kaiser
It
Chiefs.
happens to the best. What happened to Man United? Where it's the same
It's
thing.
not my team.
I'm not saying it's your team, but I'm saying you rise and you fall. The real love for Kaiser Chiefs comes to life when you see people like myself who are still committed.
You sound
And
like
every-
Gweda Mantashe right now.
No, I sound like Kaiser Chiefs board member, don't
You
I?
sound like Gweda Mantashe.
No, man.
You guys are in denial.
No offense to Uncle Gwede Van Dashe, but
You have not been providing service to the citizens of South Africa.
yeah, but
And you will not stand in front of us and admit to it.
look, all I'm saying is some of us understand what it means to be Kaiser Chiefs fans. Like that clause for life on the slogan Amakosi for life simply means that you rise and you fall with your team. The beauty about Kaiser Chiefs in the past 3 years, in fact, in the past 10 years, people will not tell you this. Again, this speaks to to ignorance or negative knowledge, the information that you don't talk about, but you toss aside to push your narrative, and you create that narrative as true knowledge, and the rest you chuck out. But it doesn't mean it's not knowledge just because you chucked it out. Is in the last 10 years, you've been to 3 cup finals. In fact, 4 cup finals. The MTN 8, we lost to Ajax Cape Town. Telkom Knockout, we lost to Sundowns 3-0. Ajax Cape Town 2-1. We lost in Nedbank Cup, we lost to TS Galaxy. And then CAF Champions League, we lost to Al Ahly. Had we won those cups, none of this would be, you guys wouldn't be saying this, right? Wait. We're wrapping up. Don't worry. I'm getting to the point. 2, in the last 3 seasons of Kaiser Chiefs, you've seen some major overhaul of the squad. Well, 2 seasons ago, actually, before 1000 became the coach, you see a major overhaul of the squad where senior players were released, and a season later, new crop of the players were employed at Kaiser Chiefs. So all that Kaiser Chiefs needs right now is good coaching. We do have quality players, just good coaching. That's it. Yeah. I made an example about Napoli. They won the league after 32 years. well, after 34 years, because the last one, the league 1990 when Maradona was the player. That ironically coincided with Messi winning the World Cup last year. Man United, before Sir Alex Ferguson took over, they went 25 years without the trophy. And I'm not saying Chiefs are going to go for 25 years. No. Our glory days are coming very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm glad you believe that. And
I know
I
that.
think
It's
stay and
inevitable. Remember, I said in this podcast or in this episode, what goes around comes around.
Tubbs, stay and stick with that narrative. Ladies
I'm a
and
Kosi for
gentlemen,
life.
like that
I'm a
is
Kosi for
reference
life.
of the fact that the backbone of a relationship is not love but commitment. So
Yeah.
I commend you on that.
Yeah.
Commit.
Yes.
Keep committing
Yes.
to that team.
Yeah.
I just don't know why.
You'll know why soon. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. All of you will come back home. Even you fake Sundowns fans will come back home.
I'm not a Sundowns fan.
Not saying
I'm
you
a
are.
Pirates fan.
Oh yeah, you Pirates fan. Yeah.
always been.
Yeah. Now I remember. Yes.
Yes.
Correct. But what I'm saying is, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of Self Literacy Podcast. My name is Tabang, Dr. Thapelo Mokoatsi. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Until next time, cheers.
Peace.